Hello and welcome to my review of the South Eastern and Chatham Railway C-Class by Bachmann. I first saw this model previewed on RMWeb. The southern region is somewhat foreign to me as I tend to stick with L&ER territory, but at a meagre £75, how could I resist? Built by the South Eastern and Chatham Railway, the C-Class is the result of trials held to determine the design of a standard freight locomotive. The first batch was delivered in 1900. Used on freight and the occasional passenger working on the South Eastern Railway between Reading and the Kent coast. Withdrawals began in 1953, but they saw life right up until 1966 as departmental shunters. Number 592 made it into preservation and is a regular attraction on the Bluebell Railway. 592 appeared in the 1999 version of the Railway Children. The packaging is of the modern Bachmann style, or to quote Intercity 82, the block of ice. Unlike my other Bachmann locos, which have the photographic insert, you can see the actual model inside. The model slides out of the packaging in a tray. The block of ice then slides out of the tray. This is then opened by a plastic catch. Be careful not to lose the bag of detailing parts. You will notice that the tender comes fixed to the locomotive, however it can be detached by removing the wires from the socket and disconnecting the hook and pin. The tender holds the DCC socket and is probably the ideal place for a sound unit if that's your thing. This is a new model from Bachmann, with this preserved example being quite a limited run. Stocks sold out fairly quickly. The unit is largely plastic, but with metal frames, chassis and wheel sets. The valve gear is quite coarse, but I believe this is to be prototype accurate. The lining is somewhat ornate and accurate to the preservation era, giving this model scope to run on even modern image layouts. There are other variants of the C-Class available, but this one is the most stunning. The numbers are sharp, with the writing quite legible. She came out of the box with no front coupling attached. Detailing parts were pre-fitted to the front buffer beam. She comes supplied with an additional NEM coupling if the end user prefers as such. Much like the external livery, the internal cab detail is equally as impressive, clearly showing the copper and brass fixtures with plenty of room to add a crew. Cab detail on the tender also lives up to this level of high quality. The handrail detail on the boiler, smoke box, cab and tender are all separate, pre-fitted components. The locomotive simply oozes character. The wheels faithfully match the paintwork of the boiler, with the same fine lining that can be found on the rest of the engine. There is a minor seam along the top of the boiler, but to be fair, I didn't notice it for a while. What's the point in a model loco if it doesn't perform well, eh? Well, you won't be disappointed with this. My particular model has spent over an hour on the rolling road without a hitch. The model is fairly quiet, not as stealthy as some, but better than most. She has a slight waddle, but this is common with OO scale locomotives. No doubt those with the inkling towards EM or P4 will happily sort that out. Unfortunately, I don't have a layout and have yet to try her with a full load. But going by my previous experiences with Bachmann locos, I find they tend to hold their feet very well. The metal frames will naturally be of assistance. She runs consistently, with no hint of surging or evidence of bad pickups. The wiring running to the tender is purely for the DCC socket, as the tender wheels are metal, but not fitted with pickups. I fell in love with the Loco for two reasons. One, the livery. Two, the price. At £75 it was an absolute bargain. The quality is on par with the NRM special editions. It's great to see Bachmann and Hornby starting to become more confident in producing such locos, especially pre-grouping, which is quite uncommon. I sincerely hope that Bachmann see fit to produce similar pre-grouping designs in their traditional liveries. I find out of 5 and out of 10 rating systems to be quite narrow, so I'm going to give each factor a percentage score and calculate the average. Looks, 85%. It really does stand out in a lineup. The only thing you need to be worried about is making the neighbouring engines jealous. Performance, 75%. I feel that not having tender pickups may be an Achilles heel. Price, 95%. This is the other major selling point. £75 is the price point I'd expect for a railroad or legacy model, not a piece of this quality straight off the production line. Packaging and extras, 90%. I'm a big fan of the ice block packaging Bachmann uses. It allows the buyer to inspect the contents without opening the box. There are plenty of additional bits of detailing on offer too, along with the usual Bachmann paperwork. Overall score, 86.25%.